Hey guys, in today's video I'll be showing you how I colour more warm skin tones. Normally I colour in cooler tones, so beiges and more on the grey ashy skin colour range. I guess just because I'm naturally those colours, I just gravitate towards them. But today I'll be using the more yellow tones, which I think most people have more yellow in their skin than what I do, so it's been quite fun just attempting to do something a bit different. And yeah, I'll show you how I get on, what colours I use. So I started with lips, and for the shadow colour, which was I used first, was 937. These are all Prismacolor pencils, and then I used 925 just to deepen it up a bit, and for the real base colour of the lips, which I think I'm using at the moment, I used 924, and then I just went in a bit with the darker colour again. So remember, if you're wanting to speed this up, YouTube has a little speed button on the side. You can put it up to 2 times speed. I've made this video a wee bit slower just so if you want to see it in what I'm actually doing in more slower detail, it's available there for you. So I'm using the colour 926 at the moment, which is quite a strong pink colour. So as you can see, I've got the pencil really sharp and just sort of dusting it over in the places I wanted to use pink. So I've done that on the cheeks, but I wanted to add it in throughout the face. I'd seen a really cool picture that used the blush not only on her cheeks but around her nose and temples and eyes, and I just thought it looked really cute, so I wanted to see if I could incorporate that into my picture. So yeah, like I said, I've just done it quite light. You can always deepen it up, but if you go in too heavy it's a little bit harder to fix that. So the colour I'm using at the moment was 941, and I went in and put all my shadows in, again just with a nice light hand, and I deepen them up when I know that they're in the place that I actually want them. I didn't have a reference photo that I was going off for the shadows today, so they might not be technically right, but I'm quite happy with how they ended up. I mean, I haven't done it that there's just like one light source. There's like light bouncing off her cheeks, and I just really wanted to make sure there was still light on her face, no real dark spots, but obviously I've put the shadows in there because I like to put contrast into my work. Now when you're using this darker skin colour, the 941, I was a bit sort of rushed, especially in that point right there, and my pencil lines were just a little bit harsh. You can see I was trying to rub it out with my finger, which didn't work. So later in the video you'll see I end up using a paint solvent. I think people can use mineral spirits or blender products. I'm not quite sure what they're called, but I show you what one I use. And so I just sort of blend that out, which isn't 100% necessary, but I just decided I was going to use it, and if you're a little bit more careful with your pencil you don't need to use it at all. So the colour I'm using there is 940, which I think is sand, that yellowy colour that I was using just before. There we go. And at this stage I was thinking, uh-oh, she's going to end up looking a bit like Lisa Simpson with her yellow skin, but it was just such a shock for me because I never use yellows in skin tones. Like I said, like I don't have yellow in my skin, so it's just never really occurred to me to use it before. But yeah, it ends up looking really beautiful and adds such a nice warmth to her skin tone. If you were worried or concerned that your picture was going to end up looking yellow, just go a wee bit lighter for a start, but especially once I use the next blending colour, that yellow look definitely disappears and just ends up looking, in my eyes, perfect. So I'm back to using that shade colour there. I like to sort of bounce around between the colours, just adding in what I think it needs here and there. And when it comes to around the lips there, I've left a really fine gap between the lips and the actual start of the skin colour, so there's like a white line all around there. I don't know if it quite shows up perfectly in this video, but it makes a really nice highlight. And then on the brow bone there, just below the eyebrow, I've left that white on either side, and the cheeks are just the paper colour as well, and the chin, and then all along that chin I've left a white highlight line as well. I've done it quite fine because that's my aesthetic. I like it to look a little bit more finer. I know some people like to leave a big chunky bold highlight white line, which is cool as well, but for this picture I wanted it to look a little bit finer. I also left it around a white line around those eyelids as well, because I wasn't quite sure how I was going to do her makeup at that stage, but I got over it later with a black pencil. And just darkening up along that hairline with the 941 again, just to add some shadows. So I changed my camera angle for this video. I feel like my hands don't get in the way as much, but also the picture is a little bit askew just because it's off to the side rather than straight down. I don't know if I like it or not. I think it's quite good the camera didn't really get in the way or anything. Sometimes my book was a little bit off to the side and out of picture, but other than that I think it's worked out pretty good, especially for this tutorial. Now if you have trouble knowing where to put your shadows, oh, I feel like I did that line there a wee bit harsh. Maybe that was the one that I was talking about before. But I do like to have deep shadows in there just to add contrast. Right, back to what I was talking about. So if you have trouble knowing where to put shadows, it's a really good idea to just Google faces. So I usually type in, like, I think near the end of this I found a picture just to make sure that my shadows weren't completely anatomically incorrect. I thought they were pretty good, so they didn't need much changing, but I did Google that. So I think I typed in 3/4 profile looking down or something like that, and a nice like black and white picture came up with shadows on it, and so I could just see how the shadows like bounced off the girl's nose and off her cheeks, and just to make sure I was on the right track. I would hate to think that I was putting you guys wrong. And so this colour that I'm using now, I don't think I'd used it before, but if I had, the colour is 997, and I'm not quite sure what that's called, maybe beige, but there I'm using a wee bit of white. It's not 100% necessary, but I just wanted to just highlight those highlights just a little bit more. So yeah, I'm using beige, and it's, sorry, I'm not sure if it is beige or not, 997, and it was just a really nice blending colour. It just brought all the colours that I'd used, like the blush and the yellowy sand colour, together so nicely, just adding a little bit more tone, and just, yeah, a really nice blending colour, but with that little bit more of a warm yellowy tone rather than grey ashy like what I would normally do. Okay, so at that point I'm using 926 again, just in the corners of her eyes, just to pinken the actual skin bit up, and then I used 997 just to blend out over that and make a nice skin colour. There I'm using that colour again, just blending everywhere, making sure to leave the white highlights of the cheeks just to add a really nice dimension. So originally I had really no idea what I was ever going to do on this page. I'd seen some people do amazing works, and I thought, oh, I'll have to do something pretty cool. And then I had seen, yeah, like I'd said, a cute picture with more yellowy skin tones and the nice blushy cheeks and rosy nose, and I thought, oh, I want to try that, and just flipped through my book to this page and thought, well, today's the day I'm colouring you in. So yeah, it ends up looking quite cool in my opinion, or maybe I should say warm, not cool. Okay, so it was at this stage that I decided to use the solvent, which is also known as paint thinner or brush cleaner. So you can just pick up any from the art store, and then any brush. I use quite a short bristle brush, and you want to use just the tiniest amount. Like, you'll feel like it's not doing anything, but it is actually pushing the paint around, and it makes a really nice soft effect. There I've actually ended up doing the whole face. My camera's battery was flat at this stage, so I was using my cell phone. But yeah, it pushes the paint around. You need to have quite a lot of pencil on your page for it to turn into like a paint-like substance, and you won't really see it, but it is gradually pushing it around and making it nice and smooth and blended, which it is quite a cool technique. But if it's your first time doing it, I suggest having a wee scribble on a scrap piece of paper and seeing how it acts. Mine takes quite a long time to dry just because it's an odorless one, so the drying time is a lot longer than if it wasn't an odorless one, but just for my sense of smell, I don't like smells. So there I'm going in with a darker shadow colour this time, which is 948, just deepening up those shadows. And I made sure that all of the solvent was completely dried before I started on that, because if it's still slightly damp, your pencil strokes will be a lot stronger than when it's completely dried, which it can take a wee while. So that colour there is the 941 again, and my daughter's decided that she doesn't want to do her afternoon sleep, so I guess I'll be recording the rest of this in a moment. Sorry if you heard her yelling, I'm just so professional with a screaming toddler in the background. I guess she could just hear me talking and she wants to know what I'm doing. So I'm just deepening up those shadow lines again with 948, going around the hair, just putting a few shadows and a wee bit more depth into the picture. Like I said, I sort of bounce around my colours, just looking at what it needs, what I need to add, strengthening up areas. So this video is in 4 times speed, so it's a little bit slower, so you can see what I'm doing, and if you want to follow along, you know, you can pause along the way, but you'll be able to see more of my pencil strokes and how firmly I'm pushing, or, you know, be able to see a wee bit more detail. Hopefully you enjoy that, and hopefully it is still slow enough that you can follow along. Normally I finish it just after this face with this video, but normally when I've done a full page there's just so many hours of footage, I can't, you know, have it at a slower pace. Normally I think it's about 16 times speed, so quite a lot faster that I'll do the videos in. Okay, so onto the eyebrows. I think that's the 948 again that I just went over and put a bit of a shadow through it, and then I've used 997 just to sort of blend those lines out because I don't really like the way they're all facing. And then I've gone on with the black pencil and drawn black brows over the top, and so they do go out of the lines just to make them look a little bit more natural. And then after that I go and darken them up just a little bit more with the 948. It just helps blend those other lines out, and it makes a really strong brow, which gives quite a dynamic look. Then onto the eye, I use the colours 1052 and 1050 just to put a bit of shadow and grey right the way across the white of the eye. If I left it paper colour, it just looks far too flat, so it just adds a nice shadow into the eye. Then I've just gone and put some black eyeliner on her, and there I'm using, I've written down 1056, so I assume that's the colour that I've used there, just to put a bit of a shadow line underneath the eyelashes, and then darkening up those eyelashes with black again, making them a little bit longer, and then using the brown that I used in the skin just to sort of smudge it out and deepen up those eye creases. Okay, then for the actual eye I used green colours, so there's a mixture in there. I've used 1090, 1091, 1098 and 946, which is more of a brown colour, and I've just sort of dotted them throughout, left a bit of variation in lights and darks just to make them look nice and round and more realistic, and I've put sort of lines into the centre just to help make that look with the realism. And then right at the end I've gone in with a white gel pen and just put a few highlights on the eyes just around the place just to make them look wet. And there you have it, her skin's all finished and it's a nice warm yellowy tone, so let me know what you think and I hope you enjoyed. Bye!